If you're struggling with a teenager who seems to oppose everything you've taught them, or if you're curious about why adolescence feels so much more intense than other life phases, this episode breaks down the psychology of teenage development and why understanding these stages transforms everything. Okay, hey, this is Francisca, and this is my mid-crisis life, and today is Monday Mindset. So yesterday in Crisis Confessionals, I was talking about my teenager and that whole teenage stage and, whatever. How it's tricky, right? It's really, really tricky. I think that the biggest thing that I wanted to touch on today was understanding developmental stages. So I spoke about it being the Dckhead phase. It's like decade-long Dckhead phase. But I really do feel like it's that. I feel like the reason why adolescence in particular is such a big, fundamental part of the process of human development is because teenagers have been brought up in a certain way, right? And when you're very young, you are desperate to be loved and to be protected because your entire survival depends upon the people that are raising you. So you learn to modify your behavior. You become conditioned into the dynamics and the practices and the patterns of whatever your family unit is, right? You learn how to operate within this unit, so that your needs can be met, so that you'll be fed and kept warm and safe and all the rest of it. By the time you hit like 12, 13, 14, the truth of the matter is that you can go make yourself a sandwich. I mean, yeah, you still need someone to pay for it for you, right? But you can go make yourself a sandwich, you can walk along the street, you can get yourself to school, you can ask somebody else for help. You're not completely vulnerable and dependent on just your family unit. And because of that, it gives this detachment, this distance between having to be and having to operate in a certain way in order to survive, to knowing actually I can sort of assert myself and be my own person because I don't need you as much anymore, right? And that's just like a natural process. It's the natural progression of things. And it's wholly necessary, right? So as a teenager, then you go off and you start trying different things. But the ironic thing is that you're not really trying different things. You're trying the opposite thing of the thing that you've been doing your entire life, right? So it's kind of really one and the same. You're not being a completely different person. You're just being a person in opposition to the person that you've previously been, right? Because you don't want to live by this regime anymore. And on and on and on it goes. But I think the reason why teenagehood is so, or adolescence is so fundamentally different is because firstly, we're all trying new things and making mistakes for our entire life, right? This is how we learn, this is how we grow, this is how we develop wisdom through experience. But as an adolescent, number one, you're trying it specifically just in opposition to who you've been previously. It's not like this genuine exploration of the world. It's the rejection of everything that you've previously been, to assert yourself as an autonomous and independent, free-thinking individual. But secondly, also, you're doing it for the first time. So you're trying on all of these hats, all of these extreme hats, and swinging from where you were all the way over here on a pendulum to like what you are not. Like, I will never be that again. I'm being this, the complete opposite, right? So if your family, I don't know, for example, hates hats, they hate them. They think that it's rude to wear a hat. They think that it's disrespectful to have a cap on, and that you're associated with thug life and all the rest of it. Trust me, that teenager's going to go out and buy a good couple snapbacks, right? Start wearing them around the house and at the dinner table and stuff, right? Because I'm an independent, autonomous individual. So swinging all the way over here, right? And it has to swing all the way over here to realize, like, oh, actually, I don't want to be that person. That actually isn't who I am. And it swings back and forth until it kind of meets this middle ground. Yeah. So there's all of these different things happening at this stage, right? I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. So yeah, so you're doing it in opposition, and also you've never done it before, so you don't know where to draw the line, right? And that's why the mistakes are so much bigger, and the cost is so much higher, and the learning is so much more significant. I think it's really helpful as parents and as individuals to have a little bit of an understanding of what the stages of development are. So there's a lot of different people that talk about it. Erikson talks about stages of development. Piaget talks about stages of development. Freud talks about stages of development, but they're all just wrapped around sex. I don't really get it. But I thought I would share some of it here with you. And I think I would encourage you also to do some research. So specifically for the adolescent stage, because that's what I'm talking about, Erikson identifies this battle, or this duality, I guess, between identity and confusion. So it's where a teenager is exploring their identity, exploring their sense of self, exactly what I've just said. And he calls it fidelity. So it's about making a choice about which version of you do you want to be faithful to, yeah? Piaget talks about it in terms of like brain. So he talks about the formal operational thinking. So this idea of reflective abstraction, which is a really difficult concept, but basically it's where they're saying that a teenager is becoming aware of and reflecting on their own thought processes. So they're not just taking information in and taking it as Bible because, mom or dad said it, or that's what they do. And that's called metacognition. And it allows them to evaluate and to plan and to regulate their strategies for life, yeah? And that really helps with like this idea of higher order thinking, yeah, not just impulsivity. Freud calls it the genital stage, which actually he encompasses from puberty to death. We're in this genital stage for the entirety of our lives, apparently, once we get out of the first 12 years. And he talks about how your sexual interests mature and individuals strive for a mutually satisfying love relationship or love relationships. And I think that that's true, because even if you take it away from romantic relationships, actually, you're looking for those relationships to be mutual and to be satisfying. And that's essentially what I'm trying to teach my son. I'm a person, you're a person. Just because I got a title and you got a different title doesn't mean that I do all of the stuff and then you take the piss and we fall into these roles. I'm just a person, you're a person. Treat me like a person. Treat me like somebody who you care about. Would you leave anybody at home wondering where you were? Would that be okay? Or just because I'm your parent and you might get in trouble, you think that that's an okay thing to do? No. No, it's not. And if you keep on treating me that way, then I'm going to react like a person and be like, you know what, I don't want to do anything for you. Why should I? Why should I fulfill this role of parent if you can't even treat me like a human being, right? So I think it all kind of makes sense, yeah? But basically what I'm saying is I'm saying that go and learn a little bit about what these things mean. Understanding psychology and understanding human development has helped me so much, because it takes you from the subjective to the objective. It takes you from looking at everything from this point of view and being like, oh, what's happening to me and what's happening in my life and what's going on around me and what do all these things mean, to being able to zoom out and go, oh, yeah, of course, that's just that stage of development. That's all it is. I'm just in a stage. I'm just in a process. Okay. I think that's it. I'm trying to move house, so that's all I'm going to say today. But come back on Thursday for Chrysalis Tours. We're going to do some sort of practice. I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to do some sort of practice that looks at these processes and how we can identify what process we're in, how we can move into that more objective thinking and contextualize maybe some of the difficulties or adversities that we face, so it doesn't feel quite so heavy and so personal. All right, cool. Now that's it. That teenager driving you crazy. Well, they're not personally attacking you. They're following a predictable developmental process. Drop a comment about what stage you think you or your teen are in, or how understanding psychology has shifted your perspective. Thursday's Chrysalis Tours will help you identify what developmental process you're currently navigating.